Would you like to come up and sit with us?
No, he's waiting until we.
Oh, okay.
Oh,
Until
do you
we
want
do
to
the
turn in
thing.
now?
Yeah, no. Let's,
That's fine.
do we want to do that first?
Yes, because.
Hi, live.
He's honestly got a long haul.
But Patty, how
Can we
busy are
steal
they?
that? Well, they can.
Yeah, no, go right ahead. Let's make him the first order.
Let
of
me
business.
go get Patty.
Patricia.
Well, yeah, we're gonna call it to order first. Are we live?
Yes.
We're gonna wait for Jason to come back before we officially begin. Hit the 3, 2, 1. You're on.
He's new. It's not Ben or Owen back there.
I know. Thank you.
She's just finishing up this one.
Okay. Wonderful.
Then let's get to order then.
All right. So we will call. Hang on. Let me start again. Welcome to the Limington Town Selectboard meeting for June 26th, 2025, and we will call the meeting to order at 7:05, and we will begin by stating the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Before we go any further and do the approval of minutes and all of that
She's
stuff,
just finishing up. We can do the quick approvals.
do you want to do those?
Just go through the.
All right,
the
Patty
quick
hasn't
warrants.
entered the room yet. I will let everybody know that we have in our office, in our audience, the new town manager, Matt Castriota, and we will be appointing him tonight, having him sworn in, even though he will not start until July 13th formally. But we really wanted to have this done on air and have, people see him.
Yes.
And
Get to
we
know
will
the
have a
face.
formal introduction later on, late July, maybe early August. We'll give Matt a couple of weeks to get in office and get settled and do all of that. And then we'll really do something really fine in the town so that the public can meet him. So, all right, that being said, I will wait for an approval for the meeting minutes for June 12th, 2025.
I make a motion to approve the minutes for June 19th.
Nope, we didn't meet June 19th.
She has two of them.
She has two of them here.
Two.
That is the Thursday we would have met, that's what all of these things are going.
Right,
Yeah, so
right, so it's just
We
June.
signed them. Shouldn't we just?
You should have two of them.
Oh, the minutes,
The
sorry.
minutes, we didn't meet, so there's no minutes.
Okay,
Thank you.
sorry,
That's okay.
off topic. What are you waiting for?
Approval for the meeting minute, a motion for the meeting minutes.
I make a motion to approve the meeting minutes for June 12th, 2020.
Thank you.
June 12th?
That's what it says.
Yes, that's the last time.
I'll second it. I don't even,
We've been gone for 2 weeks, so
I'm
we've had a
sorry.
lot of
This
work
is-
to do today.
We just talked
So
a
we have a
lot.
motion and a second to approve the meeting minutes for June 12th. All in favor? Oh, we got through that one, thank you. Let's do the approval of the warrants, okay? We have 2 weeks' worth of warrants because there were bills done. So payroll warrant 50 and 51, $29,878.74. This is for week 25. And appropriations warrant number 49 and 53 for $65,818.67 for a total of $95,697.41.
I make a motion to approve warrants 50 and 51, appropriations warrants 49 and 53.
I will second that motion.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor? Thank you. And if we had met last week, we would have been telling you about payroll warrant number 54 for $31,581.56, and appropriations warrant number 56 for $457,482.57, which, as you see, includes the SAD 6, brand new
That is this week's.
warrant and warrant 54 and 56, for the total of those, for $489,064.13.
I'm making a motion to accept payroll warrant 54, appropriations warrant 56 for this week.
I will second that.
All right, we have a motion and a second. All those in favor? Thank you. All right, we have gone through the warrants. I know they're really busy out front.
Here she
Here
comes.
she comes.
Oh,
Look at
right
that.
on cue. Thank you, Patty. If you guys would go up to the podium, please.
Yes.
All right, so
Can
we have
there
a
we go.
certificate of appointment here to Matt Castriota for the Municipality of Leamington, June 26, 2025. The Municipality of Leamington does, in accordance with the provisions of the laws of the state of Maine, hereby appoint you as town manager within Leamington and for the Municipality of Leamington for a term of 3 years to run July 13th, 2025 through December 31st, 2027, given under our hand this 26th day of June, 2026. And we will wait for, do we want to vote on that first? We want to vote on this appointment? No? Or just, yes?
You should. And then
Yeah, I make a
So-
motion to accept the appointment as read.
I will second that.
All right. All in favor? Thank you very much. And now Patty will swear you in.
Hi, Matt.
Hi.
You would raise your right hand and repeat after me. I, Matt Castriota, do swear
I, Matt Castriota, do swear
I'll support the Constitution of the United States
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
and of this state,
and of this state,
so long as I shall
so long as I shall
continue a citizen thereof.
continue as a citizen thereof.
Help me God.
So help me God.
I, Matt Castriota, do swear
I, Matt Castriota, do swear
that I will faithfully discharge,
that I will faithfully discharge,
to the best of my
to
abilities,
the best of my abilities,
the duties incumbent on me
the duties incumbent upon me
as town manager
as town manager
within and for the Municipality of Leamington,
within and for the Municipality of Limington,
according to the Constitution and laws of the state.
according to the Constitution and laws of the state.
So help me God.
So help me God.
You just sign here. Perfect. Thank you.
Thank you.
Matt, could you stay there, please? Would you stay there, please? Wendy, would you please come up to the podium? And Larry, would you please join them?
This has been a great process.
This has, yes, this has been great. Larry Mead, the Maine Municipal Association coordinator, that you helped us in this search. You conducted pre-interviews. You were here through all the interview process. Thank you very much for all you've done for Limington in finding our candidate. And we'd like to introduce you to Wendy, his wife. It's been a great pleasure to meet you tonight. And so we wish you the best in your endeavors here in Limington. And we will just ask citizens that when we see you out and about to introduce themselves to you and to make sure that we let you know that you're appreciated and you're welcomed, and we are grateful.
Yes. I'm grateful for the job. I'm looking forward to working with all of you.
Thank you very much.
Thanks, Matt.
All right.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Safe travels home.
Thank you.
All right.
Do you want to do 2 weeks' worth of
Purchase orders.
purchase orders?
Yes, sure, yeah, okay.
If you don't
Focus.
mind.
I am in. We're gonna start with this one.
The one that's highlighted.
Yeah, the one that's
Okay.
highlighted, that'll be first.
Purchase order request, Fire and EMS, a request to pay Freightliner Western Star for a pressure valve, $15.70. A request to pay Amazon iPad cases and scanner binders, $797.83. A request to pay Concentra pre-employment physical, $163. Boundtree EMS supplies, $980.44. And Sleepers Market for lunch, $94.76.
I'll make a motion to pay purchase order request for fire and EMS.
I will second that motion. Any discussion? All in favor? Thank you.
Parks and Rec, a request to pay Extreme Sportswear for the 4th of July shirts, $713. A request to pay Extreme Sportswear for rugby shirts, $758. A request to pay sleepers food for yard sale and rugby game, $1,113.77. A request to pay Cora Shriners entertainment for parade, $950. A request to pay Dennis Labby, magician, sorry, $350. And a request to pay Standish Auto Parts for bus parts, $90.65.
I will make a motion to pay Parks and Rec purchase order requests.
I will second that motion. Any discussion? There is a motion and a second. All in favor?
Public Works, a request to pay Standish Auto Parts for a governor and a dryer, $350.19.
I will make a motion to pay Public Works purchase order request.
I will second that. There is a motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor? And this week's.
Yes, June 26, 2025. Purchase order request, Fire and EMS, request to pay Fire Tech and Safety for SCBA's, $15,074. A request to pay Boundtree EMS Supplies, $245.74. And a request to pay Allen Uniforms for uniforms, $110.79.
I make a motion to pay purchase order request for fire and EMS.
I will second that. There is a motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor?
Parks and Rec, a request to pay heavy-duty services for bus repairs and the state inspection, $986.05.
I make a motion to pay purchase order request for Parks and Rec.
I will second that. We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor?
Municipal Complex, a request to pay Amazon book binding screws, $9.69.
I will make a motion to pay purchase order request for Municipal Complex.
I will second that. We have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? All in favor? Thank you. Okay, so there is the weekly stuff that we do. We have our curbside waste contract
Yes.
renewal that is due today. We offered input from the people a couple of weeks ago. Didn't really get much. So I am going to make a motion that we renew the curbside waste contract with Mellon and Sons for $300,000 per year for 3 years.
Yes, it's great. They didn't go up. They stayed the same as the last 3 years, and we really had no complaints from the public
it's-
forums. So the
it's been
service has
great.
been great, so.
Yeah, yeah, they have a great crew, they communicate well, during adverse weather, you know?
Yep.
And so, yes, it's a great company that we've been doing business with.
I will second your motion to renew the curbside waste contract.
Any discussion?
No?
All in favor? Thank you. We have made a list of trucks available for sale. I think we have enough, information on them. We're not gonna put a minimum bid on them, and we'll be putting them out on, different websites. There's like a main heavy machinery Facebook page, there's several pages that we can post this on. Now, should we have I didn't bring this up earlier, a date when the bids should be received back in office?
Probably.
How much time do you want?
90 days?
What's that?
30, 90 days?
Yeah, I wouldn't go 90. I'd say probably a month's time,
30
tops,
days?
30 days.
So what
I don't
is
think that'd be,
the date
yeah,
right now?
that's sorry, that's what I was looking up.
Today's the 26th.
Yeah, so like maybe by Monday, July 28th?
Yeah, fair enough.
Is that okay?
Yeah.
And then we can reopen the bids on Thursday, the 31st?
Yep,
All right, so we will have the bids due in office
by Monday, the
July
28th, end of
28th?
service.
And then open on the 31st. Okay. And we'll get those out and posted, and probably in the shopper's guide and things like that as well. We'll try to get them out in several locations. Okay. we're going to also make a motion to appoint, I'm gonna write this as I say it, okay? I didn't write it before because we've been so busy. To appoint Emil Brayley as the acting Public Works Director for 6 months, a term of 6 months. And see how that pans out. There's an awful lot of administrative work to do down there, and so we want to get started on that, so.
I will second your motion.
Thank you. We
You're
have a motion and a second. Any more discussion?
You made a motion.
No, I think it's good. It's just, we, the board, it's been hard. It's a lot to take, to oversee with each one of us being full-time employees on top of this. So it just, this is the right temporary fix to get things going in the right direction. So I think it's right, wrong, or indifferent. Like I said, it's temporary. It's just, it'll get the ball rolling and get some of the admin stuff that needs to be taken care of, so.
Okay, excellent. All in favor? Thank you. So there is 1, 2, 3 votes.
Taxes.
Oh, yes.
Yes, yes, yes.
Save the best for last.
You want to. So, it's due today, and we have to set the tax rate. And so we have had, since we had the school budget, all the, the county fees that we have to pay the county, all the total numbers are finally in, and we have compiled all of that, well, our
Patty has.
Patty.
Patty, she's our we.
Yeah.
Treasurer has put together all the figures for us, come up with a resolution, and we are going to set the mill rate this year at 11.20. So we'll wait for a motion.
I make a motion to accept 11.20.
I will second your motion.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Any more discussion?
11.23.
11:23.
11.23 last year.
It's down. Yeah. It's a good thing. I'm happy. It may
Taxes
not
are
be
down,
much,
and
but
we'll have
it's-
enough for overlay.
Yeah, it's
Yes.
just, it's going in the right direction. It's not up. Thank heavens.
Yes.
Yeah. So, a lot of work, a lot of, we're grateful.
Yes.
That's all we can say. We're
Yeah.
grateful. So, all in favor? Thank you very much. Okay, now we can go to department updates.
Yay.
Mr. Salazar?
Mr. Salazar. All right, Limington Fire EMS. We're going to start with the weekly Fire EMS report, week ending June 14th. During that week, number of calls for service was 16. 2 were fire, 14 were EMS. The month to date was 30 at the time. Year to date was 319 at the time. There was one call out on the schedule for this week, but the shift was covered. Trainings in-house Wednesday night that week. There was a training put on by Stryker, the stretcher company. Wednesday night, the chief hosted a tour of the fire station for the Financial Advisory Committee. Maintenance conducted or needed. The vehicles. Engine 2 is out of service, awaiting an appointment for the continued problem. State inspections have been scheduled for next month on all department vehicles. Total hours used that week was 526. The week of June 14th, month to date, there are 2 calls ahead of last June. Year to date, there are 14 calls behind last year. That week, there were 5 requests for mutual aid assistance, 3 EMS calls to Sockeby Rescue, one intercept to Sockabee Rescue that they couldn't cover due to already covering one of their calls, and one fire call to Limerick. That Thursday during that week, they received a notice that they will be approved for the $15,000 Maine EMS Sustainability Grant for the purchase of swift water rescue equipment and training. Friday, Chief Braley also received a notice from the Stephen and Tabitha King Foundation that they were awarded $50,000 for the purchase of a new SCBA compressor and fill station. Week ending June 21st, 2025 for Limington Fire EMS. This week they did 9 calls of service. 2 were fire, 7 were EMS. This week, month to date, 39, and year to date, 328. Schedule status, there was 1 call out on the schedule for this week, but the shift was covered. Maintenance conducted. Again, engine 2 is out of service, awaiting appointment for the continued problem. And again, state inspections are also scheduled for next month. This week they used 408.5 hours. Month to date, there's 6 calls ahead of last June. Year to date, 20 calls behind last year. There was 1 request for mutual aid assistance this week. This was to Waterboro for an EMS call. And on Monday that week, crews went to HB Emory to send off the students for the summer. And just a follow-up email from the fire department. The Sustainable Grant was received. This is the second and final grant through the Maine EMS Sustainability Program for $15,000. As most people know from last year, the first set was directly for the $17,000 was directly put into the fire department for a one-time bonus. This round, it'll go to emergency services, which would include swift water rescue. It's going to be purchasing swift water rescue equipment and associated training for that service.
All that came in today.
Yep, that came in yesterday. Yeah,
We opened it.
all the boxes came in yesterday. So, let's see. They were approved to purchase approximately $11,500 worth of suits and equipment, with the balance funding 12 spots in a swift water rescue technician course. Again, the Stephen King and Tabitha King Foundation grant. A few months ago, Chief Braley submitted it. He was approved for $50,000 to replace the SCBA compressor and fill station. Yesterday, he received the letter and the check for the requested amount. He started the process of purchasing the new compressor. He's just waiting for updated quotes and pricing, since when the original quote was done, it was previous years, so with costs going up. Let's see. iPads. So Chief Braley's in charge of our FirstNet program. He's our contact for our phone service here. So he was in contact with the FirstNet representative and was able to make some changes to our plans, saving the town some money, which would allow him to purchase new iPads for the ambulances. So we have connectivity while the ambulances are rolling around town and going into the hospitals. It also allowed us to get 2 additional iPads. One is going to go into the fire truck for fire service reports and assistance, and then one will be going into the chief's car. They did have to pay an additional cost for some protection for the iPads, keypads, and stuff like that. So those are now in service. At the time of this, they were waiting to get things loaded up and signed on to the particular accounts. So, but they're in service now. They also had to get the life packs put online and then connected to the iPads also. So, but those are also in service now. So, what else is here on here? That's a new iPads. Okay. New members. Our very own rec department director, Madison Moody, has officially become a member of the department. Originally, he was planning on just becoming traffic control and running around with Jason there as fire police. But he has now showed interest in going to EMT school and eventually going to fire academy to kind of get his fire 1 and 2. We have a new member, Kylie Dresser, an EMTB. Kylie Dresser is on board for the summer while she's home for home from college. She started a few years ago at the Yarmouth Fire Rescue as a junior. completed her EMTB before graduating high school and has left for college at that time. So because she's never had the opportunity to use her license, she's going to be here with us for the summer. So we'll take her on board. Let's see. Oh, it looks like she's going to be attending fire basic class also this summer. They are hiring juniors, so we have a new junior coming in, Zach Sprague, a junior who's completed his Fire 1 and 2 program through the Westbrook Vocational. He will be our second junior because our senior junior is getting ready to graduate high school. So our senior junior, second junior. I know that there's applications out there currently for, I think, 2 additional juniors to come to the department. So it looks like the junior department here
No, it's
at
good.
the fire department
Adam, yeah.
is growing. So we do have some license upgrades at the fire department. So the fire department would like to congratulate Emma Byers for completing her paramedic program. She is now licensed and practicing as a paramedic. We'd also like to congratulate for fire certifications Cody Webster and Jake Bradway for successfully completing their Fire 1 and 2 Academy, and they are officially graduated. Their official graduation is tomorrow. So, but they've completed all their testing and passed for their Fire 1 and 2. As I said just a few moments ago, the junior program looks like we're going to have 4 juniors on the department within the next few more weeks. So the chief will be dialing in on his junior program and creating policies so that our juniors can work safely with the Fire 1 and 2 and EMS department. Okay. Water rescue team. Now that we have several ice water rescue technicians and soon to have swift water rescue technicians, the chief is going to move forward in creating a more defined team for water rescue. As he has spoken in the past during our ice water rescue training, he need to be ensured to keep up on trainings and equipment. So it looks like once we're going to get through the training in the next couple of trainings, if I'm wrong, Chief, correct me. We'll start doing in-house training here so we can stay
he
on
wants
top.
to-
Working with
Swift
Standish
water
also.
class is done.
Yep.
He wants to combine, so we have a full team of ice and Swift crews. And there's 15 ice water technicians right now
Yep.
in-house. And there'll probably be, I would say, 12 to 15 of the Swift when the class is done.
Looks like here in the update that he's just mentioned about scheduling and updating policies and procedures to make sure that we are on top of our skills in the area of swift water and ice water rescue. I think that's it for these updates here. Code enforcement for week 613 through 626. 0 growth permits were issued, 4 building, 4 electrical, 3 plumbing, 1 shoreline, no fill, no business, doesn't look like gravel pits, 1 occupancy, and that for a total of 13 permits issued, for total fees collected $2,254.40. He has been on 22 inspections in the past 2 weeks, and he has an off schedule coming. All right, so Town of Limington Parks and Rec Department for week report 5:30 to 6:05. Current programs are before and after care program at HB Emery. Coffee social every Wednesday from 9:30 a.m. to 11:30 a.m. at the Old Town Hall. Indoor pickleball Tuesday and Friday nights at HB Emery from 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. Saturdays 9 a.m. to noon. T-ball and coach pitch baseball. Track and field, rugby, K through high school, and intro to softball clinics are his current programs. Open registration is registered online at limingtonrec.com. Summer Camp 2025 open to kindergarten through 8th grade. The community yard sale is Saturday, That's already over. Dang, he gave me an old one. Thank you, Madison Moody. July 4th. Okay, July 4th. They're looking still continue to expand their July events for the community celebration at Blake Memorial Field after the parade. Correct me if I'm wrong, but you're still looking for businesses and sponsors for games and activities for the community. Volunteers. Huh? All right, they're looking for cornhole tournament participants, and then they have the fire department kickball game at 3 p.m. Yeah, I saw the trophy. Looks like a Stanley Cup trophy.
And whatever team wins gets to keep that in for the year.
Nice.
The cornhole tournament?
No,
The trophy. It looks like a Stanley Cup trophy.
The trophy for the kickball?
Kickball tournament, yeah.
Oh, okay.
It's bragging
Yeah.
rights.
Bragging rights for a year. Fireworks are on Thursday night, July 3rd at dusk, and then more information and registration is available at limingtonrec.com. Momodeo, as we all know, it's now summer. It's open for the season. Daily entry is $10 per vehicle, and season passes are $50 for residents and $75 for non-residents. Track teams, final track meet. This is probably already passed. Thanks, Madison. That's right. It probably would have been last week.
Friday, yes.
All right. So, from the office of the town clerk, the town office will be closed Thursday, July 3rd, due to the firework festivities. So that answers our question.
Right,
We
right,
will not
yeah,
be here
because
July
I was gonna-
3rd.
I was going to announce that we weren't, but
Yeah.
I was unsure about the hours of the town office, so
Yeah.
thank you for that.
So the town office will be closed, which means we will not be having select board 2 to 8 next week. Office of Tax Collector, 98 tax accounts went to lien on June 26, today, for a total unpaid tax of $200,042.83. The new 2025 tax bill should be out around July 3rd. From the Office of the Treasurer, the Fire EMS Department received 2 grants this week totaling $19,599. Okay. Doesn't seem right, but seems like there should be more. Oh, the Forest Service. Yes, the Forest Service grant. Okay, that makes more sense.
Okay.
This is before the Stephen and Tabitha King grant. Okay.
Yeah, public works.
Yes.
Oh my God.
I gotta read my writing here. The town transfer station, all the fridges and AC units have been picked up and
Oh, wonderful.
collected. Christian Hill Road ditching is all done. The grading at Moy Modeo, Tucker Road, and River Road is been graded. They will be grading some more in the next few days. They're gonna touch up next across the street here. As he goes forward, the rains let up a little bit, so they'll try to get out and get a nice fresh grade on everything, because it's a lot of stuff's pretty rough. They're gonna be going in and trimming a number of the roads. I went out this afternoon with Junior. We gotta do some work on Dole's Ridge Road before the paving. We went out and drove every road that's getting paved, and Dole's Ridge is the only one that's gonna need attention. They'll be getting on that rather soon, if not the beginning of next week, the week after. But the paving will start. The rest of the roads are good to go. So, that should be at least scheduled from Charlie. Let me see here. MMA Insurance Company was done inspections on the premises. Everything went pretty well. The MMA inspector advised us of some grants that are available for like caging and stuff, for different like propane tanks and stuff, which is all grants that can help the public works. So I think she's gonna be forwarding to Nikki's email, and we'll look into that. And yeah, we just checked out on a few roads that we plow, and gotta check into those. But that's pretty much it. They mowed up here today. They'll be doing a lot of the final mowing and prep for the 4th of July weekend next week. So Public Works will be pretty busy.
Coming right up, really fast.
Yeah.
Really fast.
Here we've been talking about it and it's on our doorstep.
Yeah.
I thought let's just sign this certificate of appointment here on air, so that we don't forget that. Just want that done here. Also, one thing is, we talked about in office, we've already voted for a truck to be purchased by Public Works Department. The town approved that back at the town meeting. And it's sometimes cumbersome because we see trucks, you know, we say, well, what can we do, you know? Can somebody go look? And so it's just, we lose the truck or the possibility of even looking at it before we get a chance to do that. So I would like to make a motion that when a possibility arises, I don't care if it's 1 or 10, that we will authorize Jason Webster to look into that, put down a deposit if necessary, and to be able to act on this purchase without waiting to come back into office again, talking about it, you know, whatever, just giving him the authorization now to act. And then that's gonna save us some time and hopefully get us a nice truck before winter.
I will second your motion.
I think it's pretty I think I explained it while I said the motion. So,
Like they said, the people of the town have voted to purchase it. It's just waiting. We lost a pretty good one a week and a half ago, so.
yeah, by the time we saw it, and,
Yeah,
you
and
know.
then, because I didn't want to act, because I didn't know.
Right,
So,
right.
It's unanimous, we're all on board.
Yeah, so have at it, you know what you can spend, and you can take somebody with you that knows
Oh, I will
what we
be,
need,
so, yeah.
so. All right, all in favor? Thank you very much. Now we have, the regular, announcements at the end of the day. Is there anything else? I think.
Do you want to open it up to the general public?
Or before the closing arguments?
You want to read this or open it up? You want to open it up? All right. Anyone out there in the audience would like to get up and speak? We will open up our time to the public right now. State your name, please, and your address.
Tim Bickford, 28 Evergreen Circle. I was just jotting some notes down. I find it extremely interesting that the board decides or has decided to vote email as interim. What was the term?
Acting.
Acting, and that's for a period of 6 months, was it? How does he have the time to do that if he's a full-time fire chief and that's a full-time position? Or
That was my concern. That was our concern as well.
Yeah. It's a 40-hour-a-week job. It
both of
doesn't-
those have been 40-hour-a-week jobs.
Right, this is not, everything is reflecting a partial. It's 6 months, and it's not a full-time job. Basically, it's 90% admin. It's writing all the,
Who picks up the slack then?
what do you mean?
He has
Well,
a
if
deputy
we've
chief.
if in the past we've had a 40-hour position to run that salaried position. From the outside, it seems like either we didn't need to have that much time for either of those positions, and maybe we still currently don't need that much time for those positions, if he's able to do both.
No.
No. This
The
is-
director we had also was a mechanic.
Mhm.
We are going to be doing a search
This-
for that, and also he did public works work.
Yep.
He's not gonna be out there cutting trees and mowing and things like that. He's-
But he'll be making executive decisions.
Yes,
I would have the board look back at the growth of the fire department and EMS in the last 5 years, their budgets, under E-Mill's guidance. Personally, he said to me that there's a growth in the town. I don't have the data for that or have seen the data for that, and that's, if there were a growth in the town, it would be on par, that the tax base would also be growing to cover those expenses of increase in budgets for those departments. I fear that he's shown fairly liberal expenditures over the years, and I don't know that the town can afford to see that happen in another department as well.
Right now, it's cutting the amount, because, I mean, in the last, 2 months, 3 months, I've been getting paid 0.
Mhm.
zero to do that job. And it's just unfeasible for anybody to think that, I did it voluntarily.
Yep.
But we're at the point now where this is job descriptions, everything's coming, winter's coming, there's a lot to set forth,
Right.
and we need a start in the right direction.
Yep.
With what we've had in the past, $80,000, $85,000 for a base pay for a public works director. Now you add in the plowing that was getting paid on top of that for that director, I believe it was $25,000, $30,000 over. So now we're into the $110,000, $115,000 is what the director was making in the overall. But where this stands now is he's coming on board
Yep.
for a stipend. It's solely to get us set in a direction. We need a mechanic. Mechanics right now, you're looking at roughly 80 grand to get
Are
a
we
mechanic.
intending to hire an in-house mechanic?
Well,
The growth of the payroll account, when the numbers are said by the board, they're the salary numbers. That's not the taxpayer number. With the retirement package that was put in during COVID, with less than 1% of the town voting, the salaries are actually quite a bit higher because of the additional insurances and retirement package that was put in.
what we're looking at, we're trying to find a way forward because this town has a lot of old iron. Okay? We've got a fire truck currently down, has been for multiple weeks, because we don't have a mechanic. That truck's going out. Everything is starting to go out, so when it breaks down, we got a 550 now that's got a transmission problem. If that transmission problem is costing the town $15,000 at another place to be fixed, that's 15 grand there. Say engine 2 goes out and that needs $8,000 worth of work to be back in service. This of these can add up to well over a pay raise or a payroll for a mechanic. We're entertaining. We're not saying we're going to go out and do this. You take what the current status of all the payroll is down there, and we're trying to work it within the current payroll. We don't want to add more to the payroll. That's not what we're trying to do, or even what we're thinking of doing. What we're trying to do is come with a way forward that is going to better the town and save the town money, truthfully. You know, with the job descriptions, just in case, say, you hire a mechanic. Well, great, that mechanic now, some of the prereqs with a lot of these mechanics that I know in this trade, the heavy duty or diesel or public works, they're cross-trained. You have Fire 1, Fire 2 mechanics. So you hire a mechanic, he's now, we just gained a Fire 1, Fire 2. We just gained a firefighter, which in the town, when we've got 2 on-duty personnel during the day, we get a structure fire. He can actually stop what he's doing on a oil change or something at Public Works and come up and take a fire truck to a house that's on fire. Or that also, they can plow. Anybody that, all going forward, any Public Works employees gonna be required to plow. That is a guarantee. There's gonna be no ifs, ands, or buts. They will not be employed.
Will they all have CDLs?
Absolutely. They will have a minimum of CDLB.
Yep.
And in the case that we drawing off the bottom, if we can't find anybody, then there may be an option, possibly, this is just me talking, that you've got 6 months to get to a CDLB. You know, it's just, these are the things that we're trying, but all full-time, we're really trying to come up with a way, but we've been, since the job's vacated, trying to come up with job descriptions, and it's very hard when I'm running 2 businesses, she's down, she's running, David's putting in 80 hours a week, fire and EMS. For us to come together, it's not happening quick enough. This was a quick and easy way to, because Emil is also very, very impressive on the side of documentation and job descriptions, personnel policies. I mean, I've got 2 of them on my desk right now for fire and EMS drafts.
I would agree, he's very organized in the way he presents things. I would leave it at that, that he's organized on how he presents things. Whether it's the most economical or feasible or rational system that a town of this size needs, I'm not so sure of. So again, I'm just voicing that I have a little fear of sort of that. And also historically, 2 members of the board are also in fire and EMS. So, you know, whatever gets brought forward generally gets voted. I don't know if that's a, you know, an ethical thing, if that should be, you know, it'd be impossible to abstain because then would be one person left to vote.
But I mean, I think it's pretty.
I mean, we've already run into this situation,
Yep.
and only one of us is per diem here. The other one's a volunteer.
Yeah, I'm a
So
volunteer.
I had to
Not a-
recuse myself.
Yeah,
If
you
people
have.
would actually show up to these meetings, they would know.
Great.
So we're,
And that would only be
we're
on
trying
something
to
that's
do it
outside
the
the budget.
proper way.
I understand.
And I read
I'm
the,
not-
the main manual. I've been working with the lawyer the last couple days.
Yep.
I get your point on that, but
Yeah.
something's got to be done.
At the end of the day,
And
we just got a $50,000.
We had this
grant
proposal sitting with us
that
for
took
weeks before we made a
$50,000 out
decision.
of next year's budget for the fire and EMS. Because if you remember correctly, on the next year's budget was the replacement of the Cascade system on the taxpayers. It's on the, it's in the finance committee, can back me up, Jake. So that now is off the taxpayers because it was funded via a grant. He's
Yep.
constantly, all this equipment that I can take you all back and show you, he put in for a grant and got the grant. So on top of just, all I've ever seen from him, truthfully, is savings. He's trying to save the town money. Going forward, there are some things that are just necessities in today's day and age. You know, rescue, that's, what I mean going forward is people are getting older. You know, our rescue calls are going through the roof, and we're covering other towns. So that's something that we gotta look into too, is where we're gonna stand now. Why are we always going to Sockopee? Why are we always going here? You know, why are we sending our people to there? It's time to start charging for that, because we're losing our coverage. You know, there's certain things there's a lot of behind the scenes that we're really trying to pull together. But this right here, this was a 100% get stuff done before we're really in a predicament. And it's a temporary 6-month deal. As that's where it stands.
A lot can happen in 6 months. Where does the town manager fit in on this?
100% involved. He was in the meeting when we were talking
Yep.
about this today, and he'll be the one to ultimately oversee it. So Matt's going to be right there with him.
And
So.
who will be writing the new job description for the permanent position?
I think it should be a collective of all of us, but the end result, it has to come in front of the board. We have to sign off on it.
Okay.
So, yeah, and trust me, with the amount that I've dealt with in the last 12, 14 months, I'm gonna make sure that this is 110% correct moving
Right.
forward, because I don't want problems.
I would just like to keep things on pace with the, what I see as the town growth, and maybe I don't have correct data. So I'll be happy to meet, you know, privately and go over that stuff, and see if it's, you know, on par. Thank you.
Yeah, no problem.
I'll just follow up on that. There were significant increases over the last few years with the fire EMS department, but that was because we were in terrible condition, and not saying that in my own opinion. I'm saying that because we couldn't respond on calls. We were sending a ton of money out for mutual aid coverage. Speaking of, as much as we're going out mutual aid now, we're not half as much as we were depending on Standish before I came in here and made the changes. We were forced to increase our pay rates because we were behind. And the rate of inflation was a huge factor in that, but also the fact that we weren't able to hire people. Our reputation was terrible. We really had no choice. As far as Public Works, cuts that were made in the budget this year were a result of my work finding that the department was grossly over budget, and I believe we can become more efficient. So with my proposal, we have less going out in retirement, we have less going out in benefits, and less going out in salary. That being said, we have to find out what the rates will have to be in order to bring a mechanic in. So, you know, the savings from the salary of the Public Works Director will be affected by that. That's where the money's gonna have to come from. But I am confident there's more savings within the overall budget. I've gone back 2 or 3 years and looked at lines that have always been over budget. We've never come close to spending. And that generated some cuts this year, but I'm confident there's more to be made. So, as far as the fire department budget, there was, my initial proposal, I think, was about $13,000 of increase, which was a result of pay raises. And that equated to a 3% overall for pay raises themselves. And then we were forced to do an increase for the insurance benefits, which essentially doubled the increase. But if you, as I put in the town report, if you look at our call volume versus the rate of increase on the budget for the last, I think I did 2 or 3 years back, the cost per call is going down. I know that doesn't make it any easier on the taxpayers' wallets, but that's to indicate that the call volume is going up. Whether the population's going up or not, the demand for service is. And so we have to have the coverage. And so the busier we get, the less we can depend on mutual aid because we'll need them more, except they're getting busier too. So it's not a Limington thing, it's a public safety thing. And it's just the way it is. But if you look at my equipment line, I believe that's been the same for 3 years. There were minor increases in some of the other accounts other than payroll and benefits. One of the major increases, I think it was 3 years ago, was by the select board at the time when they grossly over budgeted for retirement and FICA. And so that was not anything that I budgeted for. And so as I got the formulas, I started calculating and made decreases 2 years in a row in those areas. So I think that's a,
But not overall.
I'm sorry.
But there's been an increase every yearly, not
Yeah,
in those areas.
the overall budget has increased each year. And I could get you the exact, I mean, we already went over it at budget time. But, yeah, yes, the budget has gone up annually, just not at the rate that it did, I think, 3 years ago. There was significant increase, so.
Okay,
Next.
anybody else?
Jason Smith, Morgan Lane. I also was keeping notes on my phone. Okay, Emil, the appointment dates. You guys talked about appointing him to the position, but maybe I missed the start date, end date of that 6 months. Did you get into that much depth on it, or when does it
Effective
start?
Tonight until 6
Let's-
months from now.
Tonight till 6 months.
And does he need to be sworn in
He does not.
No.
like the manager was?
No.
Okay. And then just, I guess, a suggestion is that I know that they gave you kind of the power to pull the trigger on the truck, and I think that's great. I guess I would just suggest that Emil's involved in that as well, because he's now the Public Works Director. And then just to address a little bit of what Mr. Bickford said, when you're looking at increases in the fire department budget, I think you need to go back further than 5 years. Because I think there was this big, long stretch that nothing happened. And then you end up grossly behind. And one of the things that, and it wasn't just Emil, I think it was even, sorry, his name went away, Travis? Was it
Travis Fillmore, Mike
Yeah,
Hartford.
But it was I mean, it was after Hartford. I mean, Hartford was just sort of happy with kind of the status quo, and that was great for taxpayers because taxes kind of stayed. And it was the same thing with the select board budget. A lot of budgets in the towns, they just kind of stayed because nobody wanted to increase taxes. Even though fire trucks get to be 30 years old, I think maybe some of our public works trucks are 30 years old at this point. Some of those blue ones.
They're not even running.
They were old when we bought them. So I think looking at what has happened, the chief touched on it a little bit, the call volume, plus what's happened in the department. I mean, it's now a full-time department, which needed to be done, otherwise there was nobody out there. We had the building.
We're
and the trucks.
24/7 with
Right.
4 full-timers.
Right, and I think there were lots of days there was just nobody available before, so
Yeah, there were a lot
So
of
the-
days that I responded by myself from home.
probably even still now, right? But yeah, it's way better than it was. I mean, I think 2 or 3 boards ago, they shut it down for 2 weeks out there because there was nobody around and nothing was up to date. So I think you just gotta, there's more than just looking at just the numbers and just like Emel's, I guess, time frame there. So, I mean, obviously there's a lot more to it. So just kind of keep that in mind. And then, the trucks going out to bid. I assume there will be a right to reject all bids part of
Absolutely.
that?
Yep, that's always a clause.
Because, you said that you weren't gonna put a minimum bid on it, but minimum bid probably ought to be the junk rate, right?
Correct.
You know, if you're gonna get $5 for a truck, we'd be better off to haul it over to
Paul,
CIA.
exactly, yep. That's the point too,
My
Jason.
thought is whoever's bidding on this is gonna have a somewhat idea of what they're bidding on and what a fair lowball price is anyways, and but we're still covered, that we have the right to reject
Yeah.
any bid, so.
And then the other part of that is it's gotta be out of here by date.
Yeah, yep.
I assume will be in there as well.
That'll give them, I can't see any more than 1 week. Most places do a couple of days, but I'd say within a week's time, it's gotta be,
I mean, they've been down there for years, so what's another week? Been working
Yeah.
on this for years,
I
so
don't have a
what's
problem with
another
a
week?
week. I
Yeah,
have a
we've been
problem
here even
with
getting to this
Another
point.
year.
still being
I'm
here
excited
next
just to be
June.
able to publish them.
And then those were the big notes I had. And then the fun stuff is the shout out to, I guess, to promote the come promote your local fire department in the kickball tournament so that we can keep that trophy right here in Limington.
How many other towns are coming?
I don't know. I don't know many of these details, but I know there's.
Why not?
I
Why
know
are we
there's
not
at least
following up
another
on this?
team.
I expect a report next week, please.
I know
It
there's
goes
at
both
least
ways on
another
this,
team.
this road, right? Or is it one way?
I mean, it's possible
It's
we're
one
dragging
way.
people
Okay.
off the street
One way
day
till
out,
next
but
week.
I'm calling out Chief Karen and Chief Fickett. You know, I don't think Mr. Fickett's got it in him, but I guess we'll see.
wow.
It's a nice trophy.
Now we're even getting a little bit of fighting words or whatever you call it going on here. I love it. And then
We're
also
gonna need
just,
like 3 ambulances that day.
just for the
The injuries.
right. And then don't forget there's also a cookout going on that afternoon as well. So come and eat. We're gonna have burgers, hot dogs, and sausage because I opened my mouth. Yeah.
And that's all to support, go back into that fund for next year's 4th of July. Or I don't even know if it'll be, well, it's Saturday next year.
Yeah, next year's gonna be a busy year. And it's gonna be
Friday,
more
Saturday.
expensive next year because fireworks on a Saturday on the 4th and
Yeah.
all of that. So, and I also wanted to shout out, I'm not gonna mention the names because I'm gonna make sure that everybody's okay with that. We did raise enough money for flags. We have 55 flags coming. So thank you to everybody that donated for that. As soon as they come in, I will put them on a poll. So hopefully our parade route will be well covered. And then, I don't know if you guys came to any kind of decision. I talked to Madison a little bit about kind of creating that, creating a kind of a donation fund for that, maybe with Parks and Rec, to update them. Once we get them in, then we need to keep them updated or what have you, so. I think that's all I have.
Thank you.
Okay.
Quick follow-up if I could. Point taken on all the budgeting stuff. I tend to use what the best metric I found would be SAD 6's budget, because it covers our local towns that we're often compared to. And the percent of what our departments spend relative to that budget. That's how I have done my data, because I'm just trying to find a way to balance that. And again, I'll present that to you guys in.
Are you trying to like compare us to Standish? Or
Well, we're often
Hollis,
compared to
or-
Standish. I mean,
But their income and their budgets are higher than ours.
no. Relative to the school,
Well, even the school budget, I mean,
their incomes are higher
higher,
than us.
I don't know.
So we're,
I'm asking the question, is it because,
no, how much of the percent?
is it just the fire department budget
no,
that
no,
you're
no, no,
concerned
I'm
with,
not-
or is it all
no,
articles that were voted on?
All articles,
Okay.
all, the entire town.
But you
spending.
started with the fire department
I did, because
and ended with the fire department, yeah. So,
Yes, that's a large one. The Parks and Rec is also the same.
it's services that are needed for the town, and so is Parks and Rec. Obviously, that's probably something we don't need is Parks and Rec, but we're gonna do it for the citizens.
I'm not debating, in this forum.
And I'm sorry that I
what
feel angry
services are
about it,
needed
because
or
yes,
not,
I am
and
a
that-
firefighter EMT.
Yep.
So, and I do live in the town also. I pay taxes, and I think that the tax money is being spent well
Mm-hmm.
for the services that are being presented to this town and other towns now.
And you've been in the town
So-
for how long, just if you don't mind
Since
me asking?
2016.
Oh, since 2016?
Yeah. Bought my house in 2016.
Yep.
I've lived in Maine since 2004.
Okay. So you've
So-
seen some changes in growth and very rapidly.
I think it could grow more. I think we need more business in this town. I know there's houses going up around
I
my
meant
house.
growth in your taxes,
So-
not growth in the town.
I know, but
Yeah.
I don't know. My
I haven't
taxes
seen a
went
lot
up a
of-
little bit. I wasn't part of that debacle from the last board directors. So hopefully it's going to get fixed here this year.
Mine
Yeah,
doubled.
there was-
So
And I
Hopefully
wasn't
that
part of
will make a
board either,
difference.
but mine doubled. So
Yeah.
I'm with you 100%. It just, the
Yeah.
people that.
But
town
everybody
didn't deserve
keeps
that.
complaining about that time
First
period, and
Yeah.
we're still trying to fix it, and it hasn't been fixed yet. So let's see what the fix
I
does,
think the reeval
and then we can
stuff,
come back and
that'll bring us back
express our
into-
complaints against it.
Into equilibrium with everybody else.
Nothing's
Right
happening
now,
too fast around here. Literally, I have to push, right? Every Thursday, I come in here with a list and I push. So, and things just don't move fast enough, especially for me. But as far as the proposal that the chief gave for public works, we can't all sit here and do it in 6 hours. And the chief already has templates made for stuff that can easily be switched over. And it's an administrative role. It's not like he's going to be down there dictating what they're going to do. He's going to meet with the temporary foreman and see what the work needs to be done.
Yeah, he's not spending money. He's not hiring people.
I understand that.
But we're going to have to compensate him for taking on the extra time during his time here. So he's double doing it.
Taking on extra time, so it's
Not
outside
time.
of his.
He's taking
Yeah,
on
outside.
extra responsibilities outside of his fire chief responsibilities that I think we require him to be available 24/7. So
You might be missing my intention is overall spending in the town. I'm not hammering on the
but you
fire
hammered the
department.
fire department and ended with
But
the
it's
fire
the largest
department.
increase for sure.
Yeah.
Actually, Parks is higher percentage-wise, but I'm relating it to our school because everybody is on an even keel. Towns in, is it SAD 6?
Yeah, I don't see how the school budget has to do with anything with our budget.
But it's not, isn't it based off of your 11, whatever? Isn't that what the school budget is based off of?
The base-
Like, didn't
well,
you say we were?
No, the
It's a
school
credit.
budget's based off of our
Didn't you say we're like Falmouth compared to like?
Well, no, you're based off of, and Emil could have answered this, because that's what he whispered to me, and I will screw it up if I say it, but
Yeah.
it's an accredited thing.
Yeah.
They accredit us, but we're still well under what we're being, he can explain it better, but I
know we're
personally
under
think
budget
MS
from what you
86
guys
is
put
way
in the
over
budget
budget.
book last year.
Yes.
Their budget for us is under what you guys put in the budget. So, and with us lowering the mill rate, I think it's going to be good for the town.
Yeah, because mill rate,
I don't-
I mean,
Well, the expenses went up. The only reason the mill rate went out was because the.
But we
people never
approved those
came-
expenses
I
in
understand that.
March,
People
so those
never
that should have
spent.
been addressed March 1st or during budget meetings, right? Why now? Why halfway through the year?
That's an interesting take.
Yeah.
So you don't care about what's already been done? We're good for the year. We'll just spend all the money? I'm not sure what you're saying by that.
No, we already approved as citizens
yeah.
the budget. So why are we questioning it now? Why do you think he's liberally spending through the department?
I'm not
And I'm sorry,
saying
I
that.
feel a little bit, I might sound a little, I just want to know why we're here now and why we didn't address it March
Well, we
1st.
lost our road commissioner.
Yeah, that was 60 weeks in the making. So we also lost our EMS director, right?
I'm unaware of that. I don't.
Nobody
know
is
that.
because we don't share that information normally.
Mm-hmm.
We deal with it and then we move forward.
So why did we lose our EMS director?
I'm not at liberty to tell you on air. So
Why are we losing people? Although I don't understand. Is there something happening behind the scenes on the town?
it's
I know
not
that-
behind the scenes and anything secret. It's just things we don't come out here and say, hey, Joe Blow, this is what
But
we're
as
doing.
a taxpayer, you would
Yeah.
say that to me in a private setting? You just don't want to say it on air?
Probably not even in the private setting because it was done in
certain things we
executive
can't
session.
say.
Right now, we
So-
can't say anything right now.
You will be able to at some point? It's just
not-
hard to follow
right.
from the outside what's
But
happening, you know?
I mean, unfortunately,
Yeah.
the director.
I thought it was
on
hard to
paid
fall from the outside
administrative
too
leave.
until I was elected.
Yeah.
And I'm like, well, wow, there's a lot of stuff going on in this town. But I'm not saying it's a lot of bad stuff going on in this town.
So then you,
But there's
you have
just a lot
you have
of stuff.
experience with that, so you should be able to, you know, come from that experience of not knowing what's going on now that you're elected. Oh, I understand. Can you present that to the other townspeople, taxpayers?
Yeah,
so that
but
they
there's
can
just some stuff
understand?
that doesn't need
There's
to
some
be,
things that we can't
Yeah.
say.
we can't present.
There's a-
We've been,
and it-
we've
The
been
manual
advised-
sits on my desk that I can and
Yeah.
cannot do, so.
Yeah, no, we've been advised not to
Yeah.
at this time.
Yeah,
And
okay.
trust me, there's nothing more.
Yeah, I
than
mean, this is
would
all
love
kind
to-
of off topic anyway.
Yeah.
I
I'd
get-
love to tell you
Yeah.
what's going on because it would make.
This was
You
the
make
problem
money.
all through these years,
Yeah.
is like, the town of Leamington's hiding stuff, the town of Leamington's hiding, this is why.
You know,
So-
there's some stuff we just.
And this is
are
why
not
everybody has these
legally-
conspiracy theories, why the town of Leamington is not, because there are
Yeah.
policies and procedures, there
There's
are
a lot of
laws in
coffee
place.
cooler, water cooler
And
now.
until you're in those those positions where you're handling those policies and procedures all the time, or the laws in place, nobody's ever gonna know.
Mm-hmm.
Unless you're sitting there and doing the job, or a lawyer.
Yeah.
It's just like patient confidentiality.
It's just like HIPAA.
Tell everybody
So-
what the patient had or did or
Everybody wants to run to fire scenes and EMS scenes, they wanna know what's going on, but you can't tell them.
can't do that.
It's same thing with government law, governments of a town. So
Yeah, again, not to.
It's frustrating.
I
It's
don't know
like-
if I'm explaining how, you know, my spending data has been all relative to what the schools, because to the school budget.
yeah,
Because each town is assessed for their population and their, you
Right,
know.
their credits.
And their credits,
Yeah.
right. And
Yeah.
s-
And I wish he could have said it quicker so I didn't.
Right.
Botch it, because I'm not gonna try to.
We are the only one that pays more municipal spending than SAD 6.
And it only happened this last year.
Yeah, it happened 2 years ago, yeah.
But this last year is when I
But we're
noticed, the
trying to
year
fix
before, what you mean, the budget actually was more in the
Surpassed,
town.
yeah.
Yeah.
What per- higher-
Which-
yeah.
higher
But what
percentage of our
happened 2
taxes
years
go
ago
to-
though? Because when I got hired here, it was not full time. There was no benefits, no full time staff at the fire department. So the fire department is growing from volunteers who might show up to per diem people working during the day, no overnights, to hey, we're going to work overnights now, 24/7. Per diem, and then now we're going to have full time people. So that
I
should be your
understand. I
difference
see
over
your
the last 2
position
years. So,
entirely. I mean, and everyone's looking east of here when we look to the towns to compare to.
yeah. Because I know
we're on
over
the
the
cusp
course
of
of the
a
years,
east
this has
town
been
and a west
presented
town. You look
at
west,
town meetings.
there's
This is
no
what's
place.
happening and going on.
But here's, the other thing too is NFPA standard. The fire service is ready to come down and knock anybody that is not full-time that's coming,
Yeah.
unfortunately. And if we do not get somewhat close, trust me, everybody around us, Porter, all these, they're gonna be in big trouble. They're not gonna have any services because NFPA standard says if it ain't 10 years or newer, 15 with a full rebuild, you can't have a fire truck. We would lose every single piece of apparatus other than our rescue right now if NFPA, and I'm not blowing smoke. Look into it. It's scary to think because then I've been 30 years in the fire service. I have got my Fire 1. I've got a lot of certs. I don't have Fire 2. If I don't get Fire 2, I'm gone. My services are unuseful. That's where this is going, and it's a lot that people don't. It's a lot of stuff that takes in if you don't get prepped, and I'm not making any decisions, trust me, I'd love to be the first one to tell you, I don't wanna pay my taxes, I want them lower, just like anybody else.
But reading between the lines, you're anticipating more increase, not,
No, I think he's doing a very good job of maintaining a very, very minimal increase, if any. And like I said, I pray, and a lot of our hopes are as we go forward, if town manager put a lot of plays in motion, grants, different stuff, because I mean, if we can get a grant down the road for a fire engine, it's $1 million. I mean, even, right, anything at this point, but
Right.
we're
we have the front
literally
half?
looking at all options. But
Right.
I seriously would love to understand, because I'm off kilter here, at some point in time, another night, I would like to understand I'd like to see what you're telling me from from a school budget to our town budget. Because after sitting through and see, I can't see how I could even, 63, was it 53 million? 53 million, whatever they went for this year. I don't understand comparisons, and I'd love to see
Yeah.
how you're laying it out. I really don't. I mean, that seems to me is like watermelons to peas. It really doesn't. You got a school budget and a town budget.
that's what's way off.
And
No, but I
for
get
me
it.
to understand it.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, yeah.
I'd love to understand it because I know you're very knowledgeable with this. And that's why I'm not just taking anything away from
Yep.
you. Just I'd like to know. So,
Politics, I'm horrible at numbers, I can understand, so it's,
yeah, and I'd love to understand how you're.
and I don't have the perspective you guys have for what you're saying. It's stuff. happening that
I'll
we're
tell you
not
this,
aware
there's a
of.
lot of stuff on my board and my paper.
Yeah.
I name everything gate, something gate,
Yeah.
something gate.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, this was a 180-degree spin for me when I
But
jumped on board.
mandated things for small towns scares me.
Scares
But
me.
it's moving that way though,
It's-
I
and
understand that.
people are gonna get scared. We're just gonna have to adapt to
We
it.
need to move with the times.
That's-
You can't just sit.
Because if we don't adapt and
But
overcome
we're also
anything, we're not
saying
gonna
we
be
have
a
an
town.
elderly population that's on fixed COLA income.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So that's
the
who
other.
picks
We
up the
even
slack
have
on
we even
that.
have populations that are not even elderly on fixed incomes.
Yeah.
So, but I would say the town or the state in itself doesn't really care because things are going to change for them and it's just going to roll downhill and change for us. So, and if we don't change,
To adapt and move forward without putting more
stress.
stress on our townspeople.
Yep.
And we understand that,
Yep.
trust me. I mean, we
I'll tell you, when we
we-
moved here, I was like, I'll drive to Spanish to take the rescue because we had heard.
Horrible things.
Yeah.
Now people don't say really anything bad about us.
we're
And now it's
responding
like,
mutual
we're
aid to
going.
Soccer like it's
I
going
get
out of
fire calls
style.
all the time of
And
everybody
it's
we're going
to the
everywhere
point
else
where
now.
we need to figure something
I was
out.
out till
I
3
understand
a.m.
we've
in
been
another
on that
town,
for a
2
long
towns
time
away.
here as a
From home
at some point, we need to.
on my night off.
It's compensation's
Like-
got to be, something's got to give.
Yeah.
They got to now step it up
Yep.
to how he did, and it's just.
Not sure how we got on the fire
It's a
department.
lot, man. It's
Yeah.
a lot. And
I'm sorry,
still
financial
thinking
advisory
Matt
committee
coming
guy.
on
I'm gonna have to.
Yeah.
because I think
You're a
Matt's
town
gonna be-
resident.
He's got how many years? 15, 20 years?
15 years.
15 years as
When does, his position starts the 20th or something like that, you said? or
13.
13th, and he's here now, or
He showed up here today to be sworn in.
I-
Yeah.
But he's gonna work remotely?
No,
Or-
he's going to come, when he starts, he'll be here Mondays, Tuesdays.
Yep,
He will drive home, work remotely Wednesday, and he'll be back here Thursday and Friday.
Okay.
Because his wife is still a school teacher. She's finishing her one more year.
yep.
So he just secured a place to live today, right up in Cornish.
Perfect.
So yeah, he's got that figured out, and the one day in the middle of the week I thought was great because it's a marriage saver in his words, because I don't think my wife would want to be without. Well, maybe she would, but I mean, and anyways, it's a good thing for
He'll
them.
be here on
Everything.
on the 3 busiest days of the week,
Yeah.
Monday, Tuesday, Friday.
Yep.
And he'll be here Thursday, even if
Thursday's
the
our
office,
meeting.
we don't even come into office until 2, but he'll be here all day.
Yep.
All day,
Yeah.
all day Friday. So, yeah, we're gonna see a lot of coverage from him, and he doesn't go by a 40-hour work week. He
Yeah.
will be here, he wants to hit the ground running, and he's enthusiastic, and he learned a lot just in,
Oh, yeah.
you know,
No,
being
he
with
seems like
us.
a great guy.
He makes me
Today.
anxious
So-
to get him here
Yeah.
because he's
Yeah.
seriously.
Learned a lot today.
Yes. Just by watching, he learned
It was
a
a lot.
lot.
I mean, it was a lot going on today.
There was
We-
a lot in office today.
That's why I was a little I'm just sorry. It's just, we literally discussed a massive amount of stuff today.
We did.
Yep.
Well, you know,
Going.
Well, we were gone for 2 weeks.
And we appreciate that, towns, for, you know, what you guys do. This is not a hammer-on
No,
situation.
no,
It's never intended to be.
This is
Yeah.
how this works, and I understand that.
Yeah.
And that's why I said I definitely would like to learn your aspect of it too.
Yeah, and I'm the same way. I need as much information as possible.
Yeah. No,
Yeah.
Thank
I
you.
respect that,
Thank
Tim,
you.
so. Anybody?
we haven't done,
coming.
you want me to read just the ending? Oh,
Yes.
You have Jake? All right.
Okay, all in favor to adjourn?
Adjourn, quick. No, I think that, the big thing, and like he said, I apologize that he's gone, but, you know, just looking at the numbers can sometimes be dangerous. I've discovered that with my job is that, you know, they're out in Oregon looking at the numbers, but without knowing what's actually going on and what's behind those numbers, sometimes it's hard. So I guess I'd encourage him to come and sit with,
Yeah, I would
Emo and
really
with
like
you
to know
guys and-
where he's coming from.
Yeah, yeah,
Because
and it's-
I don't know, and if he's saying something's off, then I want to know if something's really off. Show
yeah,
me.
and I don't think it's off. I think I think a lot of it just comes down to where we were versus where we are now, and trying to keep pace with, you know, catching up.
Yeah.
You know, and I know Emil has said that for years, back when he was on the financial advisory board, before kind of when I first started on there, is that he said, if we keep putting stuff off, it's going to get worse and worse and worse, and then it's going to be a bigger problem.
Yeah.
And that's kind of, we got kind of there.
Well, a
then-
great example is Sockby Rescue. I work
And
for
I
them.
don't mean to bag on them.
I won't bag on them, but I work for Sockby Rescue. They stayed so little from the towns that the towns are used to paying little for rescue service. They can't do that anymore.
Yeah,
So now that they're trying to increase, the towns are going nuts.
yeah.
But there's still not enough money, in my opinion, to run a rescue service covering 4 towns.
Yeah, and
Like-
it's any town kind of west
But
of,
it's that kind of view. Like, you are now catching up. And that's not where our town needs to be. If whether it be Limington Fire EMS, whether it be Parks and Rec, whether it be the front office, Public Works, any of the departments that we carry in here, if we slip once, even if it's not us in a year or two, whatever, 3, 4, whatever, and it's somebody else, we're going to be behind the ball.
yeah, and
So-
and it's kind of
The idea is to get it out to the general public and let them know this ball is coming. I think Emil does present it pretty well during previous boards before me. I've watched him out here, but
I mean that's one of the things.
or
that
financial committee boards or planning boards, whatever boards he goes to. But
and I support you guys' decision to put him in charge down there, even if it is just a temporary thing, because I have seen the way he presents stuff, and even though he does have one of the largest, maybe the largest budget of all the
pretty
town
sure Parks and
departments.
Rec has a bigger budget.
Yeah, I guess probably
Not
by the
Parks
time
and
you
Rec,
put-
but Public Works.
Public Works.
yeah, it could be.
So
But yeah, but he gets the least amount of questions.
yeah,
And that to me is an indication of, well, he's done something right in explaining that and defending those numbers.
yes, presentations are on spot for the most part.
Yeah, and he sits and crunches those numbers, and I think that
He's going
I
to
mean,
sit through this next budgetary thing as the director, and I want to see what, he just stood there in front of everybody and said, he can cut, and he may. There's
Yeah.
a high probability he will cut more out of there, because that's, he ain't going to cut it so low that we can't
Yeah, I mean a lot of
work,
the
but at the same time, we need to maintain, and we need to, if we're gonna have a public works, and that's what I was trying to get to, the amount of pay. You know, most places now, heavy duty, $200 an hour, labor. That's just labor.
Yep.
You know, so you start putting these trucks out to servicing, not only that, downtime. You know, we're 3 weeks out the shop, so they break a truck, I mean, it sits here 2, 3, 4 weeks before it can get serviced. We need to move,
Yes, how long did the school bus sit down there?
and I mean.
After
I don't
we
know,
got
but
it.
Truck two's been out of service for a month now.
Yeah.
Because
The,
So, I
new,
mean,
the
it's
school bus just came back the other day. Like,
There's certain things that just, you gotta,
yeah, no, I,
and that's been everybody know, it's been an issue going forward, and we're gonna,
yeah,
to
and
fix
it's one of the things that I see, because I grew up over in Parsonsfield, and like Limington was advanced compared to where we were. But then now that I'm in Limington, anything on that side of the river is advanced. Not necessarily advanced, but they're
they got
There's-
fancier.
it's because it's
newer
moving
stuff.
out.
Right.
It's
I mean,
moving out from
there's-
Portland and going.
well, and that's the thing
So-
is it's moving further and further west, and it's even some of those towns like Parsonsfield or Porter or whatever. I mean, they're gonna maybe be hurt even worse if they start with these mandated things. Because they still are all volunteer departments. They don't have a public works.
And it
They don't
scares
have-
me
And
as
maybe
a
they won't ever
citizen.
need to, but I mean, it's
Yeah.
I mean, we got to the point in Leamington where we needed these things, otherwise the services weren't gonna be provided, and that's why we're where we are. And then now that you have those services, it's pretty tough to go back, because nobody's gonna plow the roads for, $50 an hour in an old pickup truck or something anymore, but,
Yeah.
yeah, anyway.
Okay.
Sorry, I
The
felt.
longest ones we
I
had.
got a
in
little
while.
heated.
But no,
I apologize.
it's all good. Anybody else? Oops, sorry, Tammy, I didn't. shuffle
Everybody
them.
sit down,
Yeah,
be quiet.
yeah. Let's call this to order. It's funny because he does have
Sorry,
you with
not
the picture in the
sorry.
picture up there.
Okay,
Set the wrong scene.
quickly.
Yes.
Select Board office hours are Thursdays 2 to 8. The on-air meeting time is Thursdays at 7. Transfer station hours are Saturday and Sunday from 9 to 4, and Wednesdays 12 to noon. 12 to noon, 12 to 4. The transfer station sticker must be attached to your vehicle windshield for the disposal of all items. Transfer station stickers are available at the town office for $20, but they're closed right now. No sticker is required to use the swap shop. The transfer station does not accept brush, yard clippings, or hazardous waste. Riverside Recycling in Portland takes these things. General assistance applications are available from the Select Board office during their normal business hours. Applications must be filled out and accompanied with supporting documentation and must be signed and returned to the GA administrator or town clerk office. The planning board meets at the municipal complex the first and third Monday evenings at 7 p.m. Just one quick note, a reminder that we've already said that we will not be here next Thursday. The whole town office is closed on Thursday because of the
Fireworks.
parade.
Wanna
uh,
see
the
everybody down
fireworks,
to
the
the
fireworks, because
Yep.
people will congregate early. There are food trucks down there, and
I think there's
we want to.
gonna be 5 food trucks, I believe.
All right.
4 or
Sounds like
5 anyways
a
this
great
year.
time.
So, and I think they're gonna be rolling in at noon,
And that is on a Thursday, and the fireworks.
so.
The parade is
Friday.
Friday. 4th of July parade is Friday. Fireworks is Thursday. Fireworks day is Thursday. All right, I will ask for a motion.
I make a motion to adjourn.
I will second that.
All in favor? We are adjourned at 8:28.
I know.
It's still on.
I know.
Jason, we're still live. We lost our fire chief to a incident.